Michael and Kelsey Beaupre! Okay, either you want some more or they locked you in and they don't want you to I don't know which.
More.
Okay. Yeah, it's always humbling to share a story. Like I never thought I would ever share a story. I never thought it'd be shareable, you know. But
well, we did say we're like someday this will be on our story.
Yeah,
right? We
yeah.
actually kept this notebook that we should dust off sometime in our glove compartment, is that what you call it, in the car. Of just like ridiculous things that happen when you're traveling to visit partners and everything like that. And we're like, someday this will be worth it, right? And we'll get a chance to share.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, we're going to share some mechanics and kind of more of like, hey, what did we do to put a business together? But again, anytime we've spoke for the Legacy Leadership Team, it's humbling to see the leaders in the room, to see the kind words from all the emeralds and above up here. Again, a lot of these people we've looked up to. I mean, Andy and Patricia, Devon, Tejal. I mean, you guys part of the Jody Prakash team. It's like we've learned from you guys like when you're 100 PDs, and just like getting to know you guys and seeing what you guys have done. And we have immense respect for the businesses you guys have built, and international businesses you've built. It's humbling. We just got this little, platinum ship with a ruby ship, on the side, and some of these businesses are so big. It's amazing to see. And Rajesh and Ritu, I mean, as we became 975s, to see these guys, how they run a lot of the executive committee and what they do. These guys do a lot to help LLC run well and get things done at the conferences. So we appreciate your guys' leadership, your servitude. It's been fun to get to know you guys. And Satish and Shishma, I remember you came to Madison, Wisconsin and did a seminar. I mean, this was early days for us. This was like our first year maybe in business. And I was like, who is this guy? He's like a genius. He does rocket science for fun and he built a huge business.
I remember you riffing on like Glister and how unique and powerful Glister is for, and like if you guys haven't studied Glister, there's a lot of science behind it. And I was like, wow, we learned so much, and from the minor details to the bigger vision and the global business that you guys have is so inspiring.
But that was important to us to see, again, a very high level professional, again, the things you've accomplished, Satish, in your career and Shishma in her career, like to see them say, hey, there's value here in building a business. Because again, entrepreneurship was not like, we were like, yeah, let's do this. We're like, should we do this? Should we be here? Do we fit in this room? And again, I think the more you get in these rooms, it's your responsibility to find stories that you can see yourself in and that you can hold on to, because you won't relate to everyone. Some of you will not relate to our story, and that that's okay. But like you got to find the stories you relate to that give you a little bit of belief and hope, and that's what's so unique about this community. So all your leaders, and there's so many founders platinums here. We'd be here all night if I can't go down the list, but. Anyone that your founders platinums, your founders emeralds that are here in Houston that you guys get to learn from, don't take them for granted. Get around them, learn their stories. We were saying even last night, I know a lot of you are part of the Kakani organization here. Chuck and Uma, we're in Dallas, and Robbie and Artie are in Dallas as diamonds. Anytime we've gotten around a diamond in this environment, the hearts and who they are as people just floors me. Because I've met and sat around tables of a lot of high-level executives who make $500,000, $1 million a year, multi-millions of dollars a year in the corporate world. And a lot of them, to be honest, I was like, I don't really want to hang out with you. You don't seem that nice. You don't seem that loving. You don't seem that caring. You seem way too into banking. You're more excited about banking. Like, I'm excited about my wife. I'm excited about our family. And I just loved that every time I got around, and again, they were from a distance, but you get around some of these leaders and you're like, wow, they were real human beings. They had fears like we did, they had concerns, and they care for people. They wouldn't be here, right? It's like, do you think Satish and Shishma need to be here? Like, they do not need to be here. They certainly don't need to learn from us. They know how to put a business together. A massive international business. It's like huge, and it's so humbling to see how humble they are, how serving they are. And that's the kind of community we want to be a part of. So give your leaders another round of applause. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We got just a variety of topics in the next hour that we're going to walk through. These were things we had to kind of unlock to win, in our opinion, in this environment. When you've made the commitments now that you're like, okay, I want to put my best in here. I want to grow. What do you really got to, what are the things that helped us along the way? And we could probably be here for a long time, but we think these are maybe some of the most impactful. Number one is you got to keep it simple. I think the biggest mistake we've made, and most people make along the journey, is you make the business hard. You get all up in your head that like customers are hard, building teams is hard, I got to do all this, I got to do this. You listen to us and you're like, oh, maybe I need to work on that, I need to work on this, I need to work on this on myself, and blah, blah, blah. And just everything gets hard. And I will tell you, this is a very simple business. You got to get good at a few simple things. But the biggest challenge is, can you keep it simple in your head? Right, and we talk a lot of times with people in our process. I think nowadays there's a very entrepreneurial spirit alive in the world. A lot of the people you're going to talk to want to run businesses, want to be entrepreneurial. And I tell people all the time, I say, listen, a lot of people going to want to start a business and go build a product and be on Shark Tank or do this or do that. Every other business model you could look at has so many different variables, especially if you're going to do it from scratch. So many different variables. Ours has like 3. You grow yourself, you build clients, and you teach other people to do the same thing. It's like you gotta get good at building teams, building clients, and building yourself. Those are the 3 variables you gotta get good at. And it is truly, some people are like, yeah, it's not that simple. It is that simple. Are you gonna learn other things along the way? Yeah, but it's so you can focus on those 3 things and get really good at those 3 things. Any other business has got 1,000 variables or hundreds of variables. I tell people all the time, listen, if you think you're some hotshot that can go out and build some business from scratch with 1,000 variables that you have to solve for and get good at and fix along the way, you should be able to get in this environment and crush it. Right? Now, thank goodness this business was so simple, because someone who wasn't a hotshot, like Michael, who had all these aspirations to be an entrepreneur, could figure it out and have a chance. But I think it's important in your journey to just like, man, even when you have time to sit down and work on your business, like, are you keeping it simple in your head, right? Are you just customer activity, right? Are you reaching out to customers? Are you learning how to network and bring people through an evaluation process? That's the work to grow the business. And if you're not doing that, are you growing yourself in some fashion or form, like you are today, hopefully, right? So keeping it simple is important.
Yeah. I think 2 things that we've done to help keep things simple, help keep us on track for our business. The first, if you're part of the Clickner team, you've heard us talk about having a family meeting. This is something that we are religious about in terms of setting ourselves up for a great week, keeping us connected. So every Sunday, we have time blocked off on our calendar, and we have all different types of things that we work through in a family meeting, and you can, design your own as well. But from back when we were 6 figures in debt, and we got budgeting became part of our family meetings. We started with praying together. We walked through our budget. Early on, I was like, are we honoring how tight our budget is? Make sure we're not overspending, making sure we're making space for, investing in our business, all that kind of stuff. To now our finances piece of our family meeting is very fun. It's talking about where do we get to give more? Where do we get to have a bigger impact financially? Then we talk about our marriage. That's something that we want to make sure every single week we're putting conscious, effort into. How can we best support each other? What is something that maybe was a little frustrating the last week and we needed time to just like slow down and actually talk about it? All that time gets designated in our family meeting. We talk through our whole team. We got our org chart, and we're walking through all of our different partners. What are the pockets that we're focused on? What areas do we want to make sure we don't drop balls? Who has tickets for the next event? Who do we need to follow up with this week? What are some phone calls that we need to make? It helps us make sure, because it's easy for a whole week to go by and you're like, shoot, I forgot I was going to call so-and-so, or I forgot that I was going to, whatever. And that just helps us set up, we'll put all those things in our calendar. If you get a text from us at 9 p.m. on 9:30 p.m. or whatever on a Sunday, it's probably because we're sitting and we're going through our whole team and we are setting up phone calls with people and things like that. So that, and then the last piece is we walk through our schedule for the week. And this sounds very basic, but we both literally pull out our phones and we go, okay, Monday, this is what the day looks like, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And it's a matter of, hey, tag teaming, or hey, I want you to meet this person going through an evaluation process. Can you call this person? And it just helps us align on making sure we stay on top of things for our business. I remember early on in our journey, when we were not super early, but probably in that time that we're like, okay, we're ready to just like commit and do this thing. And Kyle goes, okay, and I game plan with Kyle, he goes, okay, this month I want you to not drop any balls. How often do you drop balls? You forget to send resources to someone going through an evaluation process or whatever, call someone or report that sale and now you didn't hit your 60% VCS and you're like, come on, right? So many things just little things that we end up dropping balls around. Having that family meeting holds us accountable to those things, and it keeps our business on the forefront of our mind, because the other thing we talk about is, did we have 2 personal meet and greets this week? That is our minimum. That is 2 personal meet and greets. And do we have 2 personal meet and greets set up this next week in our calendar? If we don't, hustle time for that. If we do, great. Now we're ready to set up the next 2 for the following week. Because many people, when it comes to your game plan, you're really excited the first few days of the month. You get your game plan in. The first few days of the month are great. The last few days, you're like, oh shoot, I gotta do all these things, and now you're hustling for maybe something the last few days of the month. Ganesh talks about one of the biggest differentiators in your business can be week 2 and week 3 of the month. Are you actually working to execute on those 2 weeks? What systems are you putting in place to hold yourself accountable for your game plan? And so one of the systems we put into place for our business, for our relationship, for our finances, all of that is a weekly family meeting. It keeps us very grounded. And then the second thing is business hours. We talk about this a lot on our team, and early on it was more important for us to designate specific business hours, but if you were a newer partner, you just went from you were filling 24 hours with something else, and now you're going to try to fit in running a business. But if you don't make space for your business, you'll get very frustrated because you won't be creating the results that you ultimately want to. And you can actually accomplish a lot in a pretty little amount of time. It's the fact that you're mostly just thinking about your business instead of taking action. So maybe this starts at 30 minutes a day, and you're like, I block this off on my calendar, 30 minutes a day. Or maybe it's 2 15-minute slots, or it's a one hour a day, whatever you want that time to look like. But starting to designate business hours, and this is business productive hours. This is not time to read. This is not time to listen to a podcast. This is not time to update your ditto. This is not time for whatever. This is time to actually develop clients or follow up with clients, or it's going to be doing some networking, whether this is out in person meeting people, this is working on your list if you're a brand new partner. So what time are you setting aside for your business? A little bit every day can actually go a long way. And what are you doing during that time so that it can be the most effective? Because it's easy to set it aside, and then you end up you're networking, but you're actually just scrolling because you're trying to find something to message somebody or whatever that looks like. Now there goes 20 minutes of your time, and it actually hasn't been productive whatsoever. So business hours is something we started to take pretty seriously early in our journey, and as we were starting to make that shift, and now we implement that a lot with our team.
So I think one thing I've observed out of a lot of executives across multiple industries, or folks who have built big businesses here, is they operate like executives, which means they keep things simple, and there's systems that keep them organized. And if you're sitting there going like, well, I'm like 20 years old and I haven't even started a job, I can't act like an executive. That's a terrible excuse, because I said the same thing. Yes, you can. In fact, if you want to create success in your corporate career, I think the more you can start to create habits that make you operate like an executive, it'll help your business, it'll help your life. I think if you want to build a value-based life, that doesn't happen by accident. So can you have a weekly plan? Can you go through, this is weird, most of your peers will never do this. They're flying by the seat of their pants, they know it, but can you sit down and go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where are my values? Not just my business, but what's important to me in life, and what am I doing, where am I going to be? And if you're in a relationship, you're married, you're significant other, are you on the same page? So much power in that, right?
Down to like, this is when we plan our date nights, I'm scheduling babysitters, we're making sure we get time together. Or hey, you've got a really busy day, it's like I got work, and then I got a doctor's appointment, and then I got this, and whatever. So when are you going to fit it in that day? Because what happens is you don't plan ahead of time, and now a busy day comes, and you're like, oh, shoot, I ran out of time today. And now you try tomorrow. And then it's like, well, but yesterday I didn't, whatever, and you get all in your head, and now it turns into a week, which turns into a month, which turns into 3 months, and now you haven't hit the goals that you want, all because one day you had a doctor's appointment that you didn't actually plan accordingly for, right? And so if you can really take that time seriously to put physical effort into your business, it can go a long way.
And some of you are also like, well, that's not how I operate. I'm not an organized person.
Yeah.
I'm not type A personality. You're not a machine like Kelsey is. No, neither am I. Sometimes I show up at these family meetings and we're on the couch and I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's not like, sometimes again, you hear us say these things and you think like, your brain goes, well, I can't do that, I'm not naturally good at that. The only way you're going to get better at it is if you actually do it. We've gotten very good at our family meetings. They're not perfect. Sometimes they are just like 10 minutes because we're drained and we're tired and we're like, let's just talk about a couple things and we're done. And they're not very executive-like. But when I zoom back at our life, it's like, how did we go from that scared, wherever we're at, new partners, to running a business now today? We had to keep things simple and become executives. That make sense? And all of you can learn to do this. All of you can choose to have a family meeting. And if you're a single person, you do not have to have a significant other. You don't have to have a family. Your family is you, your plan, and your schedule. And what does that look like, right? You can figure that out. And then for goodness gracious sake, just plan time for your business. Don't try to do it on willpower. Don't try to do it, I'll do it when I'm motivated. Because you won't be. I am not motivated 95% of my week. I'm not like, yeah, baby, let's go do this meet and greet, let's go. I'm like, I just battled to get my daughter to go to sleep by 7 o'clock so I can get on this meet and greet. And I'm like, almost avoiding the office. And then I get in there and I'm like, all right, here we go. And then when I do the meet and greet, now I feel good and now I feel great. But I'm not walking in there like a champ. Again, you guys followed me around for a whole week. You'd be like, okay, I can do this. I do some of the same things, And again, I want to break down this barrier that when you hear someone train on something or hear someone says, make it simple or do this or do that, and your brain goes, well, that's not me, I can't. You can. You can become it. Just take this and try it. And if it doesn't work for you, work with your coach on a different system. But a weekly family meeting is super, super helpful for us to keep things simple in our life. Okay, second thing I want to talk about is you got to build a good, strong foundation. And this is what we teach our team. There's two things in this environment to build a foundation to then build a business off of. And that's a strong budget and that's clients. Okay, you are entrepreneurs, my friend. You run your own business. You may not feel like it. I didn't feel like it for years that I could actually be called an entrepreneur. But every good business owner is going to have a good budget and going to have and service clients. And again, both of these, Michael's brain was messed up on. And we'll just talk about how we teach it today and how we think about it. When you think about your financial success in life, why are you building a business? It's because you want to create some level of financial success that can get you towards your values. Whatever those are, whatever you decide that is. But you got to get good at managing what you have now. Because otherwise that will become a very easy scapegoat or excuse for why I'm not winning, why I can't create success. I don't have the money, my finances aren't good, blah, 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 blah. You can fix that. And like I said earlier, I believe anyone can get into their budget, find $200, $300, $400, $500 that you're spending on stuff that doesn't matter, and now put that into a better place. Start living below your means. Start investing into yourself and into a business that can actually create exponential growth in your life. You just have to be willing to do it. And it's not easy. I work in the financial sector. I see people and how terrible they are with finances all the time. It's like, it boggles my mind how people are just bad at managing their money. But it's a difficult thing to do. This environment, our coaches and mentors sat us down and taught us how to budget and how to live below our means and how to pay off debt. And if you got someone who's willing to do that and help you, again, don't use the cop-out of I'm just not good at finances. My parents didn't teach me this. Right? I don't care what your background is. I don't care where you came from. I don't care if you grew up broke as broke as broke as broke. You can learn. You can learn. Right? And I think when you have a strong budget, you can now use your products. You can show up at events and you're not and then when your friend pokes you and goes how's that business going? Are you spending money yet? Have you made any money yet? Your brain doesn't get all nervous and oh gosh, I haven't, and where's my finances? If you know you're living below your means, does investing into a conference and coming to Unleash and getting to Atlanta, is it that big of a deal? No. But if you're not taking some discipline there, it's going to create doubt in your own mind. So we teach our team, we spend a lot of time on helping people with budgets and having a good, strong budget. Now, you also don't need to and I've heard this one, I just need to fix my finances, and then when I fix my finances, then I can build my business. Fixing your finances is not like a year-long thing. You're always going to get better, but you can make some decisions to cut some expenses, do some things in 30 days and fix it, and you can still build a business while you do that, okay? You got to lean in. Don't use that as an excuse. The second thing is creating clients. Any business has good clients, okay? And again, I was the guy who was I just never sold anything in my life. And I was so adverse to it. I was the kid who, if we had to fundraise in middle school, high school, like I tried to convince my mom to buy the quota so I didn't have to talk to anyone else, you know? Like, it was so uncomfortable. But I had such bad mindset around it that it made me bad at creating clients. Because I was like so nervous and sensitive to like, well, I don't want to think that, I don't want them to think that I'm selling them something and like make them think this. So then I tried to be cute and I was awkward and people were like, so are you selling these products? Or I don't, like they were confused, right? They're like, they just didn't know. And here's this little tangent I want to go on. Again, most of us get in this environment and we are aware at some level of the network marketing space or direct sales space. And I would argue 95% of the space does not teach entrepreneurship. They teach weird sales, right? They teach like post on social media all the time. They teach, run around and act like whatever supplier you're working with is the best product in the world and everyone should use it. And if you don't use my products, you're silly. And let me tell you why you should use them and let me convince you why. And what we observed in the world of business ownership is that's not how business owners act. And if someone thinks that you need to run an Amway business, you now need to think Amway's perfect and everyone in your life needs to use an Amway product. And if they don't, they're silly and you can convince them why. I don't think that's business owner mindset. I think that's terrible mindset. I think that's false. That's what Michael thought I had to do though. That was immature Michael. I wasn't a business owner, so that's what I thought. I need to get everyone in my life to like these. And if they don't, like I gotta show them why and like convince them. And it's just terrible mindset. What a good business owner does is they understand they have a target market. They understand there's a certain segment of the population that will find value in what you bring to the marketplace. And there's a larger segment of the population that won't. Every business on planet Earth has a larger segment of population that will not use your products or your values or do not like what you have than the population that does. Right? So when Michael got all upset that my dad wouldn't use a product or like a family member wouldn't, or whatever, it was like irrational business thinking. Does that make sense? It's not business ownership. You got to get good at just being a business owner, let people know you're in business, and find your target market. How did we start to learn to do that? We just stopped being closet entrepreneurs, and we started to just speak that we ran a business. This is what we teach our team to do. We say, hey, you just got to learn to say, I started a venture on the side, I'm working with some exclusive products in XYZ, sports nutrition, vitamins, whatever, and then we ask the simple question, are you open to trying some new sports nutrition products if they're better than what you're using? And if Edie goes, absolutely not, I really love what I have, I go, that is great, awesome, move on. You're not part of my target market, and that is okay. But if I let people know I'm in business and I say simple things like that enough, I will find the people that resonate. And you have the confidence on a 60-year-old company who's been doing product development over 60 years and keeps getting better to back you. So you just know, like I've just learned that the products work. Are they perfect? Right? Please mature your thinking here. Have I given Amway feedback on their products? Yeah, every year at Achievers, there's something that I go up to them and say, you guys got to do this better. Like this product isn't as good as some other things I've seen. They're a great servicing company supplier and business system for us, but they are not a perfect supplier. No one is. So you don't have to act like that. So is Amway the perfect fit for everyone in your life and every single person? No. Am I okay if someone is using a product and they get more value on it and they go, yeah, Michael, I like this one better than what you have to offer? Great. I'm happy you have that. I'm happy you have what you want. I just need to find my people. So I got to talk to enough people. So here's what we do on our team. Anyone who has the complaint that they don't have a good blueprint, they're not doing 150 points or 300 points, I say if you want to solve the problem, you can keep complaining about it. I'm not good at customers. Customers are hard. This is hard for me. And I'm with you. I can have empathy with you because I was there. We can be in that spot as long as we want. But when you're ready to solve the problem, here's in my opinion what you do: put in 50 people on a list, 50 people that you know in your life on a list, and in 2 weeks, reach out to all 50 of those people and let them know you run a business and ask, are they open to trying something new in this space? Everyone on our team that has taken that challenge, we have helped create customers. The problem is what most people do is they go have 3, 4, 5 conversations, and then they get maybe 3, 4, 5 people weren't part of their target market, or they maybe said, yeah, I'll try it, and then they don't follow through and whatever, and you're sitting on these 4, 5, 6, 7 people, and now all of a sudden you think customers are hard. Client development is hard. Maybe Amway's products are expensive. Maybe, and your brain goes all over the place. And the reality is they're not. Are there some products not more premium priced? Heck yeah. But like they're priced well within the market for your target, and you just got to go find that. And again, I think where the world is going today, I think more than ever, it's definitely easier than in 2012, 2013 when we started. About health conscious and the product set that Amway has a broader appeal than ever. to people, at least in the United States of America. And I think, like, man, there's so much opportunity if you're willing to think like a business owner around that. Okay? So it's your responsibility. If you're a new partner in here, please, like I said, build a good foundation. Get serious about your budget and manage that well, and then go create clients. When we see people do that, their confidence is so much higher. They feel like a business owner. And oftentimes when we see people struggling in the networking and building teams, I can always go back to one of those two things. And either their clients are a little weak, they're just using the products, they don't have any real clients. Or man, their finances are a little messed up, right? Or they're not taking it. But when I find a partner that's willing to like get those right and work on it, not perfect, you're gonna always get better, you're gonna always be on a journey. But like, do you have some solid foundation there? Man, now we can go build a business. And you're gonna feel much more genuine about building it.
Yeah, I was talking to a partner recently, and I was preparing her for she was grabbing coffee with a friend and walking through really her first kind of deeper conversation with a friend about starting a business and kind of networking with her. And she's like, I actually feel really good about it because I just developed my first few clients. And if she's like, how's your business going? I can be like, great. Actually, I just locked in my first few clients. Which sounds so simple if you guys have a great client base at this point, but as a new partner, and as I shared earlier, anytime I develop a new client, I feel amazing. Or even share a product and follow up with someone. It also keeps me cutting edge and fresh so that I can share new examples with people on our team. But the painful part with developing clients is trying to force it out of just a handful, 5, 10 people. For example, 3 years ago, 4 years ago maybe, was the first time that Michael's dad bought a product from us. So
hallelujah, it was possible. It took 10 years, but we did it.
I literally could not believe it. He's like, my dad just asked me to order him twist tubes. I'm like, your dad? Like, no way.
I didn't even approach him. He approached me.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, can you order something?
I don't know, miracles can happen. That's the message for today. But thank God we didn't wait around for him. You know, his mom ordered stuff, and I'm sure she probably tried to be nice and convince his dad to, consume a product here or there or something, but we didn't wait around for them. This was after we'd already brought him to a couple of first Achievers trip, all of that. He came to Achievers trip and never bought anything. Right? But we weren't gonna let him not being supportive of our products and our business and whatever stop us from growing a company. As much as we want him to be health conscious, he is not. Right? And people want to do that. You want to force your family members and all of that. There's plenty of people in the world who care about their health. They care about what's going in their body. So if you have enough conversations, you will find the people that will support your business, and you'll be surprised, the ones who are your greatest clients.
Yeah, again, the immature mindset is like, oh, well, my dad uses products like this, and he needs products like this. Why doesn't he just
And he
get
loves
it?
me.
Why doesn't he, right? You have friends that they're like, they drink energy drinks. Why won't they drink excess? I can give them all the reasons why it's better. And you spend all this mental energy on trying to get someone who's not part of your target market to use the product. When the business owner mindset is like, okay, that's cool. They're either not willing to spend the money on it, they're not very conscious of their health, and that's okay. Let me go find people that fit my target market. I just need to go have more conversations and let that go. Let it go. Don't spend all the mental energy. I'm like, but my friend, like, he should really use it. Like, it's better for him. He wants to be healthy, and he's using the energy drink. It's like, I know, but the dude isn't buying any. So like, get over it.
Here's the deal. Just 2 words is all you need. Let them. Okay? If any of you have read the new book, Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, great book. And I mean, you don't even need to read the book. The whole premise is literally just let them. Okay? Someone doesn't support your business? Let them. Someone doesn't care about their health? Let them. Someone doesn't, show up for a meeting? Let them. At the end of the day, all you can do is focus on what you can control. She talks about let them and let me. Let them feel whatever they want to feel about your business. With his dad, we eventually just reached the point where he's like, how's that business going? He'd ask us every time. It's great. And we changed the subject because it was just like, we're going to just let him think about whatever he wants to think and let me go after the goals that I actually want and the family life that I want to create. I can't let someone else continue to try to steal that from me. And so get those customers that you just like, they are bound to be a customer. Just get them out of your head and move on. And maybe someday they will be. It'll probably be 8 years later. So I hope you're still around too and you get to reap the benefits of that. But the other key thing with budgeting And developing clients is this tees you up to run a profitable business. And now you guys, I was the type of person, I didn't even pay attention to the profit sharing model until like 3 years into business. I understood PV, kind of BV, I would say at that point. But I didn't understand all that, I didn't really care about it. But when it comes down to it, you did start a business to make money. I hope that's part of the goal. Like usually to connect with the goals you have, you need to be making some kind of income. So why are you starving your business and not setting yourself up to actually run a profitable business, right? If you can honor your budget, you can be a good product consumer, you can develop clients, now you're setting yourself up for the strong start incentive. Any new partners, if you recently launched your business, that I asked coming out of today, well, your main question is, what is the strong start incentive, if you haven't heard about it yet, and how do I qualify for it? Because it is free money on the table to help you run a more profitable business. And then setting yourself up for BFI, Bronze Foundation. And ultimately just going, hey, a great milestone to have in your mind is, how do I make $500 a month in my business? How do you do that? Anyone know? How do you make $500 a month in your business?
This is an open question. Anyone can answer.
BFI.
Here goes. 1,000 PV BFI.
Yep.
A good structured 1,000 PV BFI should make you $500. And the reality is, you should know that as a business owner in this room. You should know that. If you don't know that, I think $500 a month is a great target to just, because that starts to, you can fund any travel probably you have throughout the year around your business. You can start to maybe fund some of your product use. You can actually tell some of your friends and family, like, yeah, like I'm doing something. There's some cash flow coming in here. Like, learn how to get there, right? But if you don't know what I got to do, if it's a mystery in your head, like, I don't know, I hope I just keep doing the work and someday I'll make money. No business operates that way. Right? You have to know what are your parameters and what do you need to create that. And so we teach our team. 1,000 PV BFI should be one of your first targets. You can make $500 a month in your business and start to feel like an entrepreneur.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you got a question? I'll take questions. Yeah, what do you got?
Sorry, I want to make a comment from what you said. I'm new. My name is Lydia. My upline, my sponsor, mentor is Ben and Mike.
Yeah.
So what I just want to share this. When I started, I was buying the same product. I have a 500, 550, making my 3%.
Great.
But then I make $50. Another month I make 60. Then I called her. I said, what's the difference? I'm spending the same amount, but my bonus are different. What's happening? Then I showed somebody really to me. If you sell everything you buy, you make more money.
Yeah.
So if you sell,
great example.
So if you sell every product you buy, you make money. So now I sell everything I buy.
Hi, girl. Maximizing your profitability. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So the reality is you gotta learn. You gotta learn. Like, right? It's like, hey, thank you and congratulations for calling your supplier for your business and asking a question. But what most people do is they just go to their upline. They don't do anything. Right? Or you go to your coach and you're like, why did this happen? You're a business owner. You can call the corporation and ask them questions and learn so you know what to do next. And again, I don't think it takes any fancy background or anything to learn to become a business owner and take some ownership. Oh man, okay.
Mic drop.
Malfunction. Am I good? I won't move. Okay.
Less dancing.
Okay, you want to keep going?
Yep,
all right. So next thing, let's talk about this. Distractions. Because I think this holds us all back. And we just got to have a real moment. Let's just talk real talk about it. I believe most of us in the world today are completely and utterly distracted most of the time. And you have to own that because no one is going to fix this for you. No one is going to make you less distracted except you. And I think I'm so guilty of this. We go through life and we just let the distractions come in. And then when we have a certain goal, or we want to make progress in one area of our life, we justify all these reasons and we're frustrated and we even know what distracts us and whatever, but then it just comes up again and again and again and again and again. And I think you have to just understand you're probably distracted. You're never going to be perfectly focused and undistracted in your life. But you got to start to have how do I solve this problem? And again, your coach can't solve this for you. They can maybe give you some ideas, but you got to really take stock of what is it in your life? Is it social media? Is it just general other media? Is it, family demands and pulls on your life that distracts you from certain things? Is it your job, right? Like, again, and I've done this. I've had phases in my journey where I've used my job and, hey, I'm a high-level professional. I got high stress at work. I got this. Like, I can't do this. And blah, 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 blah. To me, it's like, well, I can just keep complaining about that, or I can learn to create boundaries and barriers and make that not a distraction towards my goals. And to me, it's not about, it was never about optimizing our life so we could spend time on business. It was optimizing our life so we could get closer to our values. The business was just the vehicle that we knew was going to help us get there. And so many of us, I think one of our biggest regrets, all of us, when our time comes up on earth, is we're going to look back and we're like, man, I wish I would have spent more time on the things that mattered to me. I wish I would have been less distracted on things that just don't matter, right? And there's two ways that I think we've learned to live a less distracted life and keep the distractions at bay. Number one is we rooted ourselves in a community that helped us beat down those distractions. I applaud you for all being here, because now you're focused on your values, hopefully, and you're not distracted. Maybe some of you are on the ESPN app right now. That's cool. I don't take insult. But like, the reality is when you get around a group of people, this is the way I always thought about it, a group of other men, for me, that like had similar visions and goals, and I could get around them and hang out, and they were talking about books they were reading, they were talking about their values. It helped Michael focus in on my values. It made the other things in life, for me, it was sports, it was recreational stuff. Like, I played volleyball, and like I was a big golf fan, and all these other things kind of, it helped me focus in and keep those things at bay when I hung out with people who were focused on the same values that I were. Because when I wasn't rooted in a community, and like my coworkers, like what I heard my coworkers talk about and do and whatever, it's really easy. Like, someone starts talking about sports, I'm a normal guy. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go look it up what they're talking about. Like, I'll catch myself like on the ESPN app and like watching, like catching up on the NBA finals. Like, she got me the other day, she's like, what are you looking at? I'm like, oh, like I'm watching like the first game, or the highlights of the first game of the NBA finals, and I'm like, I don't even like basketball. I don't follow basketball. I don't at all. I don't like it. But then you see something, whatever, that Tyrese Halliburton hit the shot at the end and won, and like, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And again, you hear it in the workplace, and your friends and whatever talk about this stuff. So it's so easy to get sucked in to media and sports and this and consumerism and all this. It's just like, in the United States of America, we are just a highly distracted society. And you have to admit that. And if you root yourself in a community, it's gonna feel weird. It's gonna feel a little bit awkward. When you hear the coworkers talk about this, you're like, am I weird that I'm not like all up to speed on the sports stuff? Or I sat in a room, and instead of hanging out, doing something fun in Houston this weekend, like I sat in a room all day Sunday. Like, is that weird? Yes, it is. But this gets rid of the distraction so you can live a value-based life. Okay? The second thing is that you have to be totally captivated by what you want out of life. Your values do need to be very captivating in your life. More captivated than all the other stuff that gets thrown at you, which is not an easy task. Because again, there's millions, if not billions of dollars thrown into things every day to get you to be distracted. So this is why we talk about, like, you gotta talk about your dreams, you gotta talk about your vision, you gotta keep that stuff in front of you. Because when you're captivated on your goals, or your vision, or what you want out of life, or your values, the distractions seem to go away. And when you make your goals and you make your vision fun and exciting, and you talk about it all the time, the other stuff just matters less, right? And so we have learned to simplify and it's not like we're never distracted. Like I said, I'm easily distracted all the time. But we've learned to just be very captivated on what we want, and we are always rooted. Anytime we can get around this team, we are there. And sometimes I get in a room and I'm like, I don't need to learn more necessarily, right? Some of you might be in there and you're like, oh, I've heard of this stuff before. You maybe aren't learning anything new, but man, from a physiological level, the fact that you're here and rooted, in my opinion, makes you more focused on what matters to you in your life. And you keep doing that over multiple months and multiple years, you will create a better, I think, value-based life than most people. And sometimes we forget that. We forget the power of just being here, even if it's like, oh, I didn't really take any new notes or anything new. It's like there's so much value in rooting yourself in a community to keep you focused and away from the other distractions.
Yeah, just to keep it even more simple, James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, another great book, a quote that he recently shared was, if a competent CEO followed you around for a day, what is the first thing they would eliminate from your life? Right? let that be you, right? What is the thing that you're going to eliminate? Is it an app? Is it a social media platform? Is it a toxic person in your life? Is it the snooze button? So many different things that, hey, again, if you want to create different results in your life, something actually has to change. And we all have that thing that's our Achilles heel or whatever, and it's, whether it's ESPN, it's Instagram, you name it, the news, so many different things. Just choose one thing this week that you're going to eliminate. And tomorrow it'll probably be hard and you'll want to re-download the app or you'll want to, whatever it is, like just do it for a week and see how you feel and how it actually positively affects your business.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to spend some time here talking about mastering your craft, because I think we have taken this seriously. When we committed, we said, we want to get good at this. We want to be good business owners. We want to have skills. And again, there was a lot of time in my journey that I did not believe I could do this. I don't know if I've ever cracked the code. Why is this so hard for me? I had that thinking. But when we've learned, one of the worst mindsets I think to have that's very prevalent with new partners early in our journey was this like, what's wrong with me mindset. I've been doing a bunch of networking and it just isn't working. Like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Or I've read a bunch of processes and I haven't launched anyone. Like, what's wrong with me? Right? You have someone if you have a team, like someone comes in on the team, they're like, I just don't know what's wrong with you. That's what's wrong with you. You think something's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have to get disciplined. Like, let's work towards what your gap is and let's solve the problem. And I was telling someone else earlier today, I was like, there's not that, yes, I've built a skill set, but there's not that much difference between a lot of you who are new or early on in your journey. We have a self reinforcing mechanism of like, we've created some success. So like when Michael doesn't create results, I have a bad meet and greet, someone falls out, someone quits on us, I have proof of like a team of 100 plus partners that I can go, oh yeah, but there's momentum here, there's momentum here, there's momentum here. When you're a new partner, you don't have that. So when something goes wrong, it's like everything. It's like, oh, what's wrong with me? I can never do this. It's like, and it's tough, but this is the hardest part of your journey is like, can you master your craft and build your first team of 10? That will be the hardest part. And you have to be okay with that. Like, embrace that a little bit. Don't be like, oh, because that's the same for everyone, right? So again, don't compare yourself to me and be like, I can't be like Michael. It's like, well, if I gave you a team of 100 people, like, you might not know what to do with it, but like, I bet you your mindset would be better, right? Because you'd always have some sort of growth and something going. So again, but we had to earn that. And here's the journey we had to go through. In my opinion, if you're not creating results and building teams, and that's what we do, build networks, build an agency here, there's 4 areas you got to get good at. This is like, I think the LLC community taught us this. It's a formula in my mind. It's not rocket science. It's like, if you're not launching people, launching partners, there's 4 things. Number 1, you're not doing enough work. Volume of work. Number 2, are you talking to the right people? Meaning if you're only talking to a bunch of 18-year-olds who don't have any job income and like are a little immature, not that you can't, our first platinum leg, we sponsor them at 19 years old, right? But like, maybe you're just not talking to the right folks with the right level of ambition. The third one is, do you have a skill, right? Do you know what to do in an evaluation process? Again, not perfection, but do you know what to do at each step of your process? And then the fourth one is your attitude good. I can look at any part of our team, and if someone's not creating partnerships, it's one of those 4 things. That's it. I just refuse to believe that there's people that just like, oh, well, you just can't figure it out. You just can't build teams. All these people in the world of Amway have figured out how to build teams and launch people, but you can't do it. I refuse to believe that. It's one of those 4 variables. You're either not doing one of those or all of them. And there was times in our journey that I looked at all 4 of those and I was like, I'm not doing enough work. My skill set needs work. I'm definitely not talking to the right people. And like, my attitude was pretty bad about it. But if you can just work to fix those, you will eventually start to create results. But again, this is why we call it mastering your craft, because it isn't going to happen doing one meet and greet. Yeah. It isn't going to happen like in a month. Like, it's going to take time, but I will tell you, when you master your craft, no one can take it away from you. Yeah. And that should be your goal in this week.
Yeah, you only have to learn these skills one time and then continue to implement them. But again, we spend so much time on our business in our mind and not actually doing the work. When you think about it, again, as Michael kind of kicked off this session on, it's keeping it simple. You literally have to learn how to sell a product to someone, how to, kind of step 1 here of mastering your craft, learning how to network, step 2, how to run an evaluation process, right? It's like there's really not that many things, and how to retain partners. That's it. that's like the 4 skills that's all you have to know to actually run a business. So you have to just be willing to invest the time and the bad process appointments like we talked about earlier to master that craft. So let's talk about number 1, developing the skill of networking. There's a spectrum of people when people fall on a spectrum when it comes to networking. Either you're the, bull in the china shop and you're like, I talked to 30 people and no one is entrepreneurial, and your coach is like, what? Like, I didn't say that you should, start having these conversations, and you just went for it, and you didn't actually study and, start to craft your skill first. The other end of the spectrum are the type of people where they want to play huddle until they're 2,500 PV. They want to play huddle until they're platinum ship because they don't want to mess anything up. And now they're actually also stifling their growth because you're not willing to think for yourself and use your own brain. So in terms of developing the skill of networking, this can be done, I think, in a 2 to 4 week process. If you're willing to take it seriously, study on your own, get good, feedback and coaching from your coach. And it's also amazing if you guys just stop and think about it, most entrepreneurs, like 99% of entrepreneurs out there, are just trying to figure it out on their own. And you have someone that is willing to pour their time and energy and heart and care into you, and either you're not taking mentorship appropriately and you leveraging that, or you're underutilizing it oftentimes. So even just from like developing the skill of networking, to have the feedback. And I remember just like having Mason sit with us and start the conversations, even after we were in business technically for like 2-3 years at that point. And now finally Kelsey was coming on board and starting to do work. They were still willing to work with me, but I said, I want to learn this skill as fast as I can, so I can start to operate independently. So when it comes to networking, you guys all have great resources and everything from your coach, but it's a matter of, don't make it a long, painful process. Just figure it out, right? Get the skill, use your coach, but not forever, because you'll limit the speed that your business can grow at if you spend too much time there.
But again, if you're play huddling with your coach, right, you're learning this networking phase, and you're just trying to get lucky, here's what you'll do. Oh God, that's what I should say. Great, okay, go, send it. And then you get a response, and you're like, okay, what do I do here? Oh, great, okay, great, go. And you're not engaging your brain because you're trying to get lucky, and you're hoping this goes well, versus you're mastering your craft. When you play huddle with your coach, you're like, okay, got it. Okay, next time I'm in this scenario, I can use that. That's great verbiage. Let me talk that. Let me connect the dots in my brain. Let's apply my brain. Does that make sense? So much of mastering your craft is like, can you get good, not just get lucky? And so much of our time is like, oh, I hope I launch a partner. I hope I do this. It's like, okay, just do this. Do what my coach says. Do what my coach says. Do what my coach says. And you can go a whole 6 months. We've seen people go years of play huddling, and they have no skill. They just regurgitate what the coach gave them. And I believe what Kelsey said, it's like, if you just, and this isn't a forever thing, don't tell yourself like, it's going to take me years and maybe you have been play huddling for years, but I believe, even if you have, a 2 to 4 week process, you can learn. You're not going to be an expert, but you can be competent in networking. You can know enough to be dangerous, and then it will take you years to master the craft. But it does not take longer than 2 to 4 weeks to learn a basic framework, how to network. We teach 5 levels of a conversation. Like, just learn it and then go.
And then same thing for running an evaluation process. That's going to take a little bit longer, right? Because there's just more steps, there's more complexities in it. But maybe you're a new partner. It's easy to sit back and watch your coach run a meet and greet, and you're like just watching the show. And you're like, they're amazing, right? They did so great, and you're just like kind of you're building up your coach afterwards because you're like, wow, that was so good. But no, instead of that, I want you nosy and taking notes and thinking about it. And so at first, yes, there's going to be a couple of just observing experiences with your first process appointments with your coach. But then next, it's getting to the point that you're trying to think one step ahead. Someone you're bringing through an evaluation process, they ask a question, you should be trying to answer that question in your mind, right? Not just, yes, you want to observe your coach, but you want to think about, what do I think my coach is going to say? And now, are you in alignment with that? Because you can actually start building your confidence before you're even running process appointments by going, that's what I thought they were going to say, right? Or that's what I would say in that scenario. And then starting to even collaborate process appointments. And you're kind of covering parts of the education process, and they're covering parts of the education process. Getting feedback. Feedback is a very humbling experience. But if you step up to the plate and you're looking for, and you ask for feedback from your coach and you genuinely want it, you can accelerate your growth. so much. I recently, a partner that we've worked with for a little while, it's like she kind of hit this stagnation point in her business and still running process appointments and stuff, but she's like, Kelsey, I just feel like there's something in my process that maybe I need to shift up. Here's where people keep kind of falling off. And so we came in and we kind of co-ran an evaluation process. And I said, if I would have just listened to, let's say, a recording of this meet and greet too, it would have sounded great. But instead I got to sit and observe it and go, your voice sounds good, but your face looks kind of bored about what you're actually talking about. Like, you need to be energized about what you're talking about. I started to give her recommendations on like smiling with your eyes and all these different types of things we got to talk about, because she was humble enough to ask for feedback on her evaluation process because she wants to master her craft. It's one thing to get through the information and you can regurgitate exactly what your coach said, and that's how it's going to start. But eventually, like Mike said, you got to put your brain into it and think about, well, this person is a medical background, so maybe I should use a different analogy because they're not going to understand this accounting one that I use. And starting to actually shift and customize your evaluation process, nothing radically different every time, but actually relating to that person, that's mastering your craft. You're putting actual thought in. And oftentimes, if maybe you're at a point that you're just running a lot of appointments, and that's great, but you're also not giving yourself space maybe right before a process appointment. Anytime that, like Michael was talking about this meet and greet one that he ran recently, and it was just kind of a flop. It's like, because you just went right into it versus even 3 minutes of time to go, okay, who's this person? What do I need to know about them? Blah, 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 right? What are some concerns that I have? And actively thinking about it, right? Be a CEO for your business. And the more effort and mindset and reflection and feedback that you put into developing, mastering that craft of an evaluation process, the faster that's going to happen for you.
Yeah, here's the hard truth is this. If you want to get good at running an evaluation process, please go do 100 meet and greets.
Yeah.
Not 5, not 10, not a couple here and there. Go do 100. If you talk to any platinum in this room, I bet you they would say it took them at least 100 meet and greets before they started to feel like, I kind of got this. I got some mojo. Like, I know what I'm doing. And I think, again, the problem is people go try to do that amount of work, but they're trying to get lucky along the way. Let's just imagine, like, again, I don't care where you're at in business. You're new, you've been in business for 7 years, and you don't have the results you want. Whatever. If the next year you ran 100 meet and greets and launched no one, but you got so darn good at your craft, you learned what to say, when to say it, you started to build some instinct around it, and then the next year, you actually launched 12, 15, 20 people from that, doing another 100 meet and greets. Over a 2-year period, you could set up a 615 business and be in platinum qualification, in my opinion, with that skill. It's like, but none of us want to do the hard work of mastering your craft. It sounds lame. It sounds hard. And it is, emotionally, physically. I don't think it's that crazy, right? So you have to do a lot of harder things in a lot of other businesses to build something. 100 meet and greets is like, if we really wanted to put a bunch of entrepreneurs up here and say, do 100 meet and greets to build a, $250,000 business, or like, do whatever they had to do. It's like, I'll pick the 100 meet and greets, right? But sometimes, again, we build this up to be, we're trying to get lucky when it's just like, man, stop caring about the results if you don't have the skills yet. Go do enough work that you can get so good at this that you can have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. It's like, I've seen this scenario before. I've heard someone give me that excuse before. Oh, I've heard him say that. And you just need to do enough of it to kind of get there. And so get excited about that. Lean in. Like, if I told you you're not going to create any results this year, but I need you to do 100 meet and greets. And if you do 100 meet and greets, I'll pay you $1 million. How would you act? Would you care about what the heck I said? If they're like, you'd be like, all right, go, whatever, done. Okay. But that's a little bit of the attitude, is you have to be mature enough as an entrepreneur to know is, if I've mastered this craft, to me, it is worth more than $1 million if I can get good at this. Because over my lifetime, what I'll be able to build, the cash flow I'll be able to create, worth way more than that. Right? So can you play that game with yourself and get yourself in the mindset of like, I'm going to get so good at this, I'm going to get so good at this, I'm going to get so good at this. And when we started to focus on that, all of a sudden, we started to feel more like, we kind of know what we're doing. Yeah. I kind of feel like I know what to do in an MG2. I kind of know what to do in a follow-up. So, anyways.
Yeah. And we still work on that. It's like, I just ran a process appointment the other night, and I'm like, I randomly said this in it. I'm like, I kind of liked it. So we're always talking about just those micro tweaks to continue to get better. And that was part of when we ran those, set the goal of the 100 meet and greets that summer, is every time we were driving somewhere to run an appointment or coming back and whatnot, we were talking about our process and what went well, or why someone recently, a partnership was no longer with us. Like, what was that? How could we have addressed that better? Where if you can look at things from like a solution mindset rather than, oh, another partner, follow the process. I knew that was gonna happen. They always do at X, Y, and Z. Versus like, no, what could I learn from this and actually apply it so that it gets better and better and better. The third step of mastering your craft, this is when it comes to retaining people. And this could maybe be more of a leadership conversation, so we don't have to go super deep in here, but this is an important part of you want to keep the partners that you develop. And some of the gaps sometimes in retention is you're not setting proper expectations in an evaluation process. So it actually comes back to mastering your craft of the evaluation process and having an abundance mindset. If you have enough people in a process, you're willing to tell people the truth, tell people what it actually takes, what you see people do who create success in this environment, and that you're willing, versus just hoping that this is my person, right? Like Michael said, hoping to get lucky. So if someone comes in with proper expectations, then a partnership tends to have a higher success rate because they know what it takes. It's very clear. They agreed to that. You guys solutioned around things that maybe they had a challenge with. And then when you pair that with building a solid relationship with someone, that can help a lot in terms of retaining a partner and pouring into them. It's like Rashmi and Smita, they have shared so many times, like the first time you call a partner after they're in a partnership, can you talk to them for 30 minutes about nothing, or not about business at all? And I'm like, that sounds like a waste of time. But I had to like consciously shift that, right? Because it's like building relationships, getting to know people, what's going on in their life, what's their family dynamic. This should also be happening in an evaluation process. You are not an information just giver, right? A process is not just like this step, this step, this step, this step. No, you're building a relationship with someone. And I always love Eddie Koenig talks about the second half of the evaluation process is you're now on the same side of the table as them. You're working together to prepare them to run a successful business. So starting to build a relationship even in a process, but also afterwards. And again, there's a spectrum of people in this sense. If you're more like me and you're just like, let's get to the information, whatever, do your SSI, do this, do that, whatnot, you need to work on being more relational, giving yourself time for that, making more phone calls. A relationship is not built over Zoom. If you're trying to build a relationship over Zoom, you are missing the boat. It comes with traveling to visit your partners, phone calls, FaceTimes, getting around the events with them, grabbing food before and afterwards. So don't miss the boat on building relationships. If you're on the other end of the spectrum, you're very relational. There's so many people who've created a ton of success in this environment. I think of Lauren Wills as a perfect example. Super relational. She went Emerald as a single lady because she learned how to lead people while also being very relational. Right? So study that so that you can help retain the partners that you spent so much time working to develop.
Okay, last thing on mastering your craft. I'll be quick here because we want a couple other things to wrap up with. This is a communication business. And I would argue most endeavors are communication driven. And I don't think we spend enough time talking about, are you improving your communication skills? There is a ton out there today about how to become a clear, articulate, effective communicator. And a lot of what you might see out of me today speaking to you and my effectiveness in our building our business was Michael's journey of, wimpy, mumbling, not good communicator to becoming a great communicator. And the thought I just want to plant in everyone's head here is a lot of people go through life and they change a lot of different things. They change the way they look, they change their hairdo, they change their style, how they dress. But have you ever considered changing the way you sound and the way you communicate? Because essentially your voice is an instrument and you can actually change it. There's a lot of stuff out here. I've dug into a lot of this. I'm like, hey, your pitch, your rate, your tone, there's something called the 5 vocal foundations. It's how I come off. And when I share my story with someone in an effective, clear way, they connect or resonate with it. And sometimes you're sharing your story and your communication skills are the gap, right? It's just like your pitch, your tone, you don't sound excited or you're talking too fast and all you do is talk really fast and you talk really fast all the time and really fast and then people don't understand you. They're like, I didn't get anything out of that. Or you talk really slow and people get distracted and they fall asleep. Or you just talk at the same rate the whole time. When you talk at the same rate the whole time, when people talk at the same rate, you don't really get the... So when you watch me speak, a lot of people think, oh, Michael, you're natural at this. I've worked hard at this. Everything, my rate, my pitch, my tone, I've had to be conscious that like I can change the pitch of my voice. I can talk really high, I can talk really low. People are like, well, that doesn't sound like me, Michael. The sound came from your mouth. I'm pretty sure that's you. But if you want to be an entrepreneur and master your craft, if communication is important, what time are you spending on mastering your communication skills? And if it sounds funny to you, maybe you just aren't familiar with that part of your voice. Maybe you haven't used your instrument in that way before, and you just need to familiarize yourself with it. I remember Craig teaching me to be like, Michael, you got to sound a little more excited.
You guys, we were platinums in business. And Craig he spent the night at our place because he was flying out of Milwaukee, and we lived close to the airport at the time. And he was just like, he's like, can I give you guys some just like feedback? We're like, yeah, no, we're ready. Yeah. And I need Michael and Kelsey to get to the point that people are actually energized to listen to them when they speak.
It's like, ouch, okay.
All right. Clearly have a lot of work to do on that, but you can master that craft, or you can master that skill.
And I worked on it. I remember being like, okay, what does excited Michael sound like? Let me try. Let me like, let's get it out there. Let's work with my hands. Let's use my hands. Let's use my voice. Let's I would do that, and I'd be like, that sounds so weird. It doesn't sound like me. And now you all are like, that's the Michael that you know and experience, right? You don't know any different. Again, it's my voice. It's just my ability to use it. And my ability to effectively pause. My ability to change the volume of my voice to make a point. All of those things, my friends. And here's, again, the way you get good at this is go run 100 meet and greets. Mm-hmm. But be aware of what you're doing and practice in those 100 meet and greets. Because if you get this skill down, you become a more effective communicator. That's one of the big skills you need to build this business. But your marriage will be better. Your career will be better. I am not like, there's a lot of people that know a heck of a lot more about banking than I do. What am I very good at? Effectively communicating. That's why I've been promoted so many times in my job. Because I can effectively communicate a concept, and I've learned how to use this tool to take a concept and explain to an executive what's going on and what we need to do next. And they promote me. Okay, that's fine. I'll take more money. That's cool. Only for a period of time. They only got me for a few more months. Okay, so tangent, but I think that's really important. 2 last points we want to make. Number 1, as you work on the skill, what I believe the skill, like once you develop a base skill, what this allows you to do is realize that this business is not about you. And this is counterintuitive, but work with me here. We just spent most of the last hour talking about like how you got to work on yourself and you got to get better and you and you got to read and you got to listen and you got to grow you and you got to grow you. The secret though is when you're sitting down with the person, it is not about you. One breakthrough that I've had in my brain, and the reason that I was so nervous to talk to people and do stuff, but that I'm not that nervous to be in front of this room now and talk about, because it's not about me. I'm not worried about how does Michael sound and what is my pitch like and what am I doing. Have I been at times and working on that? Yes. But my goal today is like if there's one person in this room that can take something from our story and go, you know what? I didn't think I could do this, but now I think I can. Or man, that gives me enough to do the next thing. That's all I'm here for. The other, 99 of you or whatever, if you get nothing out here, that's fine. If there's one of you that gets something, that's what I'm here. And that's what legacy leadership taught us, is this is a service business. You are here to empower people and help people get closer to their values and create what they want. And if you help enough people create success, you will create success. And that, if you can get good at that, when you do a meet and greet, to just stop worrying about did you say the right thing and whatever and blah, blah. Can you just be with the person? And get to know what are their desires, what do they want, what's their goals? Can you genuinely actually help them? And can you just be real with them? People tell us all the time, we appreciate how authentic you are, Mike and Kelsey. It's just because it's the only way I know how to be. Because I'm not worried about what people think of me. If you never invite me back here, that's okay. I have a beautiful wife, 2 gorgeous girls at home. I will be fine. So I'm not worried about how Michael comes off. What I'm worried about is, here's things that helped me. Here's things that I believe in. Let me effectively communicate that to you because I think it might be helpful. Because I care about you. I care about the person on the other side of the table. And maybe I can take you through an evaluation process and maybe I can get you access to this great community. Maybe I can't. Maybe I just give you a good book recommendation and that's it. But it has to start to be, it's not about you. And I'm just going to read this quick story here. Oh man, we're running out of time. Okay. So I just thought this story was really compelling. There was an interview of a big-time investor. It was a big, owned a hedge fund, very wealthy individual. And he was doing an interview, and they asked him the question of, what's the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? And the gentleman went on to tell the story of when his son was born, he was in a NICU for like 6 months. And during that time, there were a lot of other kids in the NICU that were worse than his son, or not as bad, or worse than his son, who didn't make it, that were better than his son and didn't make it. And he's like, but my son made it. Healthy son now, he's got a boy. And he said, the kindest thing that someone has ever done for me is those practitioners who mastered their craft. He said, they might not have thought that way at the time, but the years of dedication to learn and to whatever, and the care they put into my son, the kindest thing they ever did for me is I have my son today because of the work they did. And then he went on to say this. He said, but maybe in some sense, the kindest thing that all of us can do is to pursue something radically in some way that has service to other people, because you just don't know how it's going to change the trajectory of a human life. And what I think is so beautiful about, and why Kelsey and I have fallen in love with this business and this community, is you have the opportunity to radically pursue a craft and get so good at it that you can help someone in their budget, in their finances, in their relationships, to create a more value-based life. That's the opportunity we have here. It's not about how awesome we are. Why did we study? I don't want to get so good in an evaluation process so I can go, look at me, look how awesome I am. I want to get so good that I can impact someone's life to a degree that they can live based on their values. And what a great way to live. And this is the example we saw in all of our leaders. And I just think sometimes we need to think about that. It's like, why are you going to go through all this to learn a process? In some sense, it might be the kindest thing you could ever do to other people in your life, is get so radically good at this that you can actually help and empower people in ways that other people won't be able to.
Yeah, one of the last kind of points that we want to talk about of areas that me specifically, really had to work on to start to perform in this space was my attitude. And maybe you guys are like, oh yeah, I've mastered my craft, I've done all these things, I have my heart on other people, but maybe this is also your Achilles heel like it was for me. In terms of attitude, there's also always the spectrum of people. There's the happy clappy individuals, and then there's people like Kelsey on the other end of the spectrum. And an example, obviously I've grown a lot in this area, and it has been very intentional to work to control and improve my attitude. So that's my message overall here. But when we got married, I started PA school right after that. We're in our early first year or so of business, and Michael would drop me off at school. So we were broke at this time, as we talked about. We're in this income restricted housing, and we shared a 1996 Toyota Camry. And he came and dropped me off at school, picked me up, brought me back home and whatnot. And he dropped me off at school, and he'd say, have a good day. And I would say, doubt it. Like, it sounds sarcastic when I say it, but that is actually what I said. That is actually what I meant. And he picked me up, how was the day? I'm like, it was awful. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Maybe tomorrow will be better. Probably not. Like, literally, that was me. And I was a toxic person for him to be around and to live with at that point. And that's how I felt. I just truly, my first semester of PA school, I was like, every day is worse than the last day. I was in such a bad spot at that point in time. And Michael had the guts to, one day, he ended up recommending a book for me, The Energy Bus, by John Gordon. If you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. If you have read it, you understand how bold of a move that was for Michael to recommend this book to me.
We are not recommending you do this. This is a risk, gentlemen.
This is danger for your relationship.
Give your wife a book on having a better attitude. I'm not saying you should do this. I have no responsibility if any of you get a recommendation to read The Energy Bus later. It was a bold move, it was a risk, but it paid off.
It did pay off. I read this book and I was like, oh my God, like, this is me, right? I am this toxic person. I am the energy vampire, as they talk about. Like, I was just an awful person to be around, and like a terrible influence on Michael of just what my attitude looked like. But instead of just being like, oh, that's me, right? It was a matter of going, wow, how cool to understand that I can actually control my attitude. here I'm just letting life determine what my attitude looks like, and other people and this professor and this exam and this classmate and this family thing and all these other things, versus going, wow, I guess I'm actually in control of this if I want to be and if I choose to be. And so I started to consciously shift my attitude. And this has taken years of time. I've prayed for patience every single day in my life. That's been something that I've also worked on. But it's like I started to actually let some of the books and the talks and whatnot resonate with me and hit me a little bit deeper. I started to catch the things that I was saying, or, you know, when you're like, oh, this is going to be this person will probably call this the text, right? And I'm like, oh, but just another one of the texts, right? When I see that text pop up, I knew that was an attitude that I had. So I said, oh, I shifted my mindset to go, I bet they really loved the talks. And now you open the text and they're like, oh my God, I love the talk by Eddie and Cassie and this and that. I'm like, how much of the negative things that are happening in your business and in your life are because you're actually speaking them into existence? And so I started to shift that. It's like we hear this all the time. What are some attitudes to check? Customer development is hard. No, it's not. We just talked about it. You just haven't actually tried hard enough. You haven't had enough conversations. You have the opportunity to help people, impact people in developing partnerships, but also helping them in their health and their wellness. And it is actually selfish if you don't choose to share the products, right? Oh, it's another meeting, and it's kind of late. You know, you guys are Central Time, and Eastern Time people are like, oh, it's Eastern Time, and now it's getting kind of late, and I don't know, it's just another Zoom call. You guys, what if you shifted your attitude and said, yes, are there times like Michael talked about, we come on a process appointment or team meeting, we're like, all right, here we go. Yeah, we're excited. We've been on a lot of team meetings at this point in time and whatnot. The second we're on it, we feel great. We're so energized. So we definitely choose not to miss it. But what if you shifted your attitude and it's like, gosh, what an incredible opportunity to be around a community of people like you are today, or on your Zoom calls or whatever your team does, that are here to speak into you, who are telling you the thing that worked for them to move on and to grow their business. A whole crew of people that are cheering you on. When a new pin breaks in the team and everyone goes wild, it's like so many people believe in you. But here you're like, oh, it's another team meeting, right? Oh, I gotta get myself together and look decent. No, change your attitude. It is a choice. Another attitude, I'm tired. It's just been such a long day.
Okay, this is a big one. I'm gonna jump in here. I'm on a mission. Anytime I speak, we're gonna make a pact as a room, okay? We are no longer gonna say, I'm tired. Just think about this. That doesn't mean you aren't tired, but what value does that add to you or the world by going, oh, I'm just really tired. Oh, I'm just really tired. Does that help the person you're talking to? No. Does that help you?
Nope.
By you saying you're tired, is that gonna make you untired? Adds zero value to the world, but how much do you hear this attitude all the time? Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, how was your day? Oh man, I was just really tired today. It was a long day. Zero value. Can we just make a pact? Every room I'm in, I'm just like, can we all agree? We no longer are going to say I'm tired. Doesn't mean you can't be tired. You can fix it. You can go get some sleep if you're tired, right? But please don't put that energy out. Don't put that attitude out in the world. We're going to be in a better spot. And the other thing is, if you're in this room, I said this last day at Dallas. I said, you tell me you're tired, all I'm going to say is, what was your ditto?
You ain't consuming enough products.
There's so many products to solve that problem. If you tell me your title, no empathy, I'm just going to be like, show me your ditto. Show me your ditto. Because if you use the products, you're not going to be tired, right? But again, it's small things like this, and you might laugh and whatever, but I really believe it's the people that decide to take control of this and be a little different than the rest of the world that start to create results. And that's why you do not need to be a superhuman genius, super disciplined, amazing person. But can you stop saying you're tired? Yeah, you can.
Yep. It's like I still, again, this is something I'm consciously checking oftentimes. What does my attitude look like? And just like last week, I'm like, today I'm not a super pleasant person. And Michael's like, you know.
I cannot confirm or deny that.
He's learned just to like smile and nod a little bit. And I'm like, all I need to do is I either need to get on a process appointment or I need to call someone on my team. Because the best solution, at least figure out what your solution is for your attitude, but for my attitude, the best solution is taking my eyes off myself and putting them on other people. Pick up that phone call and I call someone on my team and I get to help them work on something or talk through something with their job or whatever it is, help them in their business or just listen about what's going on in life, I get to take my eyes off myself and pour it in other people. And me talking about how tired I am and how whatever my day was and this and that, it's like, that's not going to help the situation, right? So figure out what it is that, if that's something that you're constantly battling is your attitude, check it and figure it out.
Okay, last thing. We'd like to leave folks with this, because this phrase has helped us immensely on our journey. The phrase we say often in our household, we say in our life is, it's always your move. And I think it's a great mindset because, again, some of you heard this stuff today, maybe you're like, wow, that's intimidating. That sounds like a lot that I have to learn. Or like, I don't know if I can speak like that. I don't know if I can do that. Maybe you're doubting yourself. Maybe you're dealing with a bunch of stuff in life. And you're like, hey, yeah, that's great, but like I got a lot of stuff going on that's like tough family stuff, tough whatever. No matter what, when you all walk out of that door, the phrase that will always be true in my mind is if you're walking out that door, it is your move. You can choose what you do next from here. No matter how bad your business is, no matter how great it is, no matter where you're at, it is always your move. If you take a breath and stop and think, all right, my move. Whatever happens to you, whether you hit your goals or don't hit your goals, you can always end the night, start the day and you say, you know what? My move. It's my move. And you can control it. And that's all Kelsey and I did. We weren't always where we wanted to be. We did not grow as fast as we want to grow. We still mess things up. Is our business perfect? No. Are our parameters perfect? No. We are not. We mess stuff up all the time. But I can always tell myself, Michael, it's my move. What am I going to do next? And I got it. And we've just been saying that for 13 years. We keep growing, we keep growing, we keep growing. So we had a blast sharing with you guys today. Thanks for listening to us. Again, we want to see a ton of growth from the Houston team. We know what's happening. So we appreciate you guys all.